Hello, dog lovers. My name is Saro. I'm a doctor and I also coach dog owners. Welcome to the live show. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask your questions. Let me tell
Do
you.
you believe that you can get clients?
Uh, what I have in plan for today is I'm going to talk about whether dogs are food motivated or not. Also have some trivia questions, so stay tuned to play the trivia game and also answer your questions live. We have Shantanu Kida says hello. Thank you for being here, Shantana. Thank Shantanu. Yeah, that's an interesting name. And while you're here, let me know where you guys are from. Shantana has a beagle, another beagle owner. Great. Um, can call you Sean from India. Very well. Great. Thank you. So yes, another beagle owner. So I'm going to answer questions. Also, I'm going to talk about are dogs food motivated or not, and also share with you some trivia questions. So I'm going to start with the trivia question first, and later on I'll answer it. Meanwhile, if you know the answers to these trivia questions, go ahead and let me know. So question one, trivia one, are dingoes a domesticated dog or wild dog? So dingoes are they domesticated animals or wild animals? Let me know if you know the answer. Rusa is in the house as well, says hello. I'm so excited to join your live video for the first time ever. Great, thank you for being here. I'm from Finland and I have an English toy terrier puppy called Penny. Cool. English toy terrier from Finland. Very cool. Shantana is guessing that it's a wild dog. You'll see. I'll share the answers in a moment. Rusa is also guessing that it's a wild dog. Dingoes. So the question is, are dingoes a domesticated dog or a wild dog? So let me know the answer. And meanwhile, let me just go ahead and talk to you about are dogs motivated with food, or the better question is, are dogs food motivated? There are many people, many dog owners who they feel and they believe that dogs are food motivated, so therefore they need to use food to train dogs. Right? That's the only thing that is going to work. But you have to understand that food in general for any creature, any live animal, including humans, it is in an important part of our lives. You know, food is, without food we won't be alive, right? So just because it is necessity, it's part of our life, it doesn't mean that it's everything. Food is important, but it's not as important as other stuff. It's necessity in a way that into emotional level, it's a very emotional thing when it comes to food. Food is something that we attach ourselves very emotionally to it. We get very emotional when we eat. We feel good, we feel, the sourness makes us feel bad, the sweetness makes us feel good, the taste and the emotions that we get from it, it's very sensitive. So it's a very emotional thing when it comes to being food driven. We love food in a way that is very emotional. So I don't believe that we need to use food in a way that we think that food is a only thing that we have to use to train dogs. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit more about it, but I want you to understand first of all that food is very emotional. It's not that everybody is food driven. And most dogs, and in general, from my point of view, are not food oriented, food motivated. We think that they're food motivated. I mean, just think of it this way. Me, I'm not very foodie person. I like food, but I don't love food. I mean, I love food, but I don't think about it all the time. But I have friends, and I know people that they think about food all the time. They are thinking about what to eat. They are eating something now, and they're thinking about what to eat next meal, right? So they're very foodie. So just because we are foodie doesn't mean that we care about food only. We care about everything else as well, which I'm going to talk about it in a moment. Let me go to the chat line. Let's see what's going on chat line. Rusa is also guessing that is a wild dog. Naturally fly. Nia from Louisiana. Nice to meet you. Nice to have you here, Nia. Nay from Louisiana. I have a Chihuahua mix with Pomeranian. Very cool. Thank you for being here, Nay. And we have D66. Hello, Saro. Hello from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, USA. Have a 10-year-old Boston Terrier. Very cool. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the show. Camilla Abadi. I know this name. Bingley says yes. Oh, hi. Bingley says hi. Okay. Bingley's mom. Yes. Hi. Thank you for being here, Camilla. Shana says, how to give puppy training to stubborn pups. Any tips, any video I can see? Okay. Stubborn, yes. Now, this is something that I want you to understand. It's not that the puppy is stubborn or the dog is stubborn. What happens when we think about a stubborn dog, we think of it as the dog is trying to mess us up, is to drive us crazy. But the fact is that when you have a dog who you think it's stubborn, it's not because they're stubborn, it's because you are not clear enough when you're giving your cues or your commands or when you're communicating to your dog. You're not clear enough, therefore your dog doesn't understand what you're saying. So let me give you an example. This is a very common problem, very common mistake that dog owners they make. For example, if you want to ask your dog to sit, if you want your dog to sit, most dog owners, this is what they do. They say, Rover, Rover, sit. Rover, 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 sit. Sit. Rover, Rover. Can't you hear me? Hey, Rover, Rover, sit, sit. No, sit, sit. Rover, Rover, Rover. You see? That's what they do. Even though you think you're trying and you're giving cues to your dog and you're constantly giving cues, but when you say that, let me ask you, didn't it annoy you? Wasn't it annoying? Keep repeating. That's what happens. When you do simple mistakes like that, your dog says, you know what, I'm gonna shut you off. I'm not gonna listen to you because you're annoying. So I'm not gonna listen to you. So therefore they literally don't hear you. They just turn you off. Therefore your dog doesn't do what you're asking it to do, which in this case was the sit, right? So even though you're repeating and you're asking your dog to sit, and your dog says, you know what, you're annoying, I'm not going to listen to you, la 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 la, they don't listen to you, therefore you don't get the sit, therefore you say, what, my dog is stubborn. You know what, that's not the dog's problem. The issue started with the human who wasn't clear enough to give clear cues. So the solution for that case, for if you want your dog to sit, for instance, would be for you to say, Rover, sit, just once. And if your Rover doesn't sit, you just say a cue. And usually I teach dog owners to teach a cue for when the dog doesn't do what you're asking it to do something. In my case, I teach dog owners to tell their dogs no. So no becomes a cue for the dog to understand that, oh, when I hear this cue, I'm not doing what this human is asking me to do. So I have to figure out what I'm doing or I'm not doing right or wrong. So they have to figure it out. So I have videos that I'm going to show you. Actually, I'm going to share with you what video you can watch. You can watch this video actually, and you can start teaching your dog this cue word, and ask your dog to figure it out, learn that it's doing something wrong, and then teach them. Once they understand what no is, then they will figure it out. They will stop that behavior and they will pay attention to you. So instead of you repeating many times the same command, the same cue, your dog eventually is going to say, you know what, okay, I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say to me that I'm not sitting. So what do you want me to do? So then, for example, I'm the dog and you're saying, Rover, sit, and I'm not sitting. And if you say no, and I'm going to say, oh, what did I do? And now I'm paying attention to you. Now you can tell me to sit one more time, maybe one more time. And once you say one more time, then I will probably do it. So stubbornness is not a dog behavioral behavior. It's a human trait that humans usually tend to use it as an excuse when the dog is not listening to them. So let me see if I can find that video. Now I can share it on the chat line so you can go ahead and watch that video. Give me a second. Meanwhile, keep the questions coming because I will answer all your questions. Let me see. Trying to find the video that that explains that. You know what I'm going to do, Sean? I'm going to find the video and I'm going to put it in the description. You can go ahead and watch that. Okay, so I'll find it after the show. Okay, so the first trivia question today was, are dingoes a domesticated dog or wild animal or wild dog? So if you know the answer, let me know, and I'm going to answer it in a moment. And let me see who else is on the chat line. We have Shauna D66 as asking, my Boston does this strange licking thing sometimes that I think may be stress or for attention when I'm busy. She licks as if she has peanut butter or long hair stuck to the roof of her mouth. She gets tons of love and attention, so maybe she does it to get my attention while I'm busy. Anything I can do to prevent this? It seems she's uncomfortable when it happens. Usually when dogs lick something, the way you're describing it, this 66, is usually they're lacking fiber. Based on my experience, when dogs lack fiber, they tend to start licking like that. That's a sign that somehow the fiber is not in their diet. So what you want to do is you want to add some form of fiber, like vegetables, green leafy vegetables, maybe even some sweet potato you can add to their food. Even sometimes what they will do is they will eat grass to get that fiber. So most of the time, the way the description that you're giving me, it's sign that they're lacking fiber. So I highly suggest to add fiber, some form of fiber to their diet on regular basis, not just once. Just add it on a regular basis, so they will they will feel good overall all the time. So hopefully that answers your question. She does this, but there's something I can do. Of course, I want to help. Yes, his 4 months old pup. Rusa is. Let me just see. Yeah, okay. Rusa is saying, this was new to me that I should say no when my dog doesn't do what I asked her to do. Thank you. I will tell this to my son too. He repeats the commands over and over again and she still won't do it. Yes, that's as I said, it's a very common, I run dog training classes. I run, private dog training as well. And even when I run online courses and I ask my students to send videos to me so I can observe and see how they're doing and what they're doing, all the time I see them doing the same mistake, which is repeating and repeating the same task, which it drives the dogs crazy. So let me ask the answer to the first trivia questions that I had. So the first trivia question was, are dingoes domesticated dog or wild dogs? Dingoes are member of domesticated dog family, and they are kept as pets by native people of Australia. So they are actually domesticated pets. That's hopefully it's surprising. Yes, it's dingoes have been used as many observers have been observing them and studying them to figure out their behavior so we can understand dogs better. But in general, dingoes are one of those animals or dogs that they actually live with humans, not the way that North Americans dogs live with us. They are wild, they are living on the streets, but they are considered as pets, different form, but they are still pets. So that is interesting to know. Let me continue with the questions. Naturally Fly says, my dog is very territorial and protective. He barks at everything and nips at people. Any help you can give is very much appreciated. So the reason dogs become territorial and protective is there are a few reasons. One of them is because they want to protect themselves. Two is they want to protect you, the dog owner. Three, they want to protect their environment. So it's mainly for purpose of security. So a dog, we were talking about domesticated dogs and wild dogs. Domesticated dogs they tend to be different and behaving differently than wild dogs. Wild dogs, yes, they are territorial and they are protective. Pet dogs, pet animals, even your dog, they don't tend to be territorial or protective. The fact is that part of their instinct has been kind of washed off through breeding and being domesticated. So they are a little bit attached to that behavior, but in a way they are not acting just like wild animals do. They're doing it because, in my opinion, they're lacking confidence. What that means is they're lacking that assurance that they're safe and secure. So what that means is a dog owner is not providing assurance for the dog. The way you provide assurance for a dog is you provide their 5 daily needs every day. This way your dog is going to be willing to understand and accept that you're in charge and you're safe and you're going to provide that safe security for your dog. So what are those 5 essential needs are exercise, training, socialization, care, and affection. So I have videos about all these 5 essentials, and I've also written a book about it too that you can find on Amazon. It's called A Dog's 5 Essential Needs. But I have videos as well that I talk about these 5 needs that you need to provide on daily basis. And one more time is exercise, training, socialization, care, and affection. If you provide these 5 things on daily basis, your dog is going to be more confident and more much more happier and more comfortable to be living with you. Most dogs who have this behavioral issue is based on my observation is that they're lacking confidence, and that is what is causing them to be aggressive in a way, or protective, or be territorial in general. So what you want to do is focus on those 5 things. So I have videos on my channel. So if you search on my channel 5 daily needs, you will find those videos. Go ahead and watch those videos, and you'll understand exactly what you need to provide. But providing those 5 things will make your yes, so that's a good point that you brought. Naturally Fly, he gets plenty of affection, right? So exercise too, yes. So here's the thing. Let me see if I can demo this better for you. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. So most dogs, as I said, you need to provide, there we are. I hope you can see that. So exercise, training, socialization, care, and affection, right? So exercise is number 1. Second, training, socialization, care, and affection. Affection is the last thing a dog needs, and most dog owners, what they do is they focus on affection and a little bit of exercise, just like you mentioned now. Everything else is kind of ignored, right? So I want you to focus on providing your dog's daily 5 essential in this order. So what I mean by that is provide good amount of exercise, not too much, not too little, because whether you provide too much or too little, you will stress your dog. That will cause stress, and bad behavior will happen. So provide enough exercise, and also provide daily training. You need to, even though I'm not saying just training like basic obedience, but daily training is mental activity that you're providing for your dog. You're doing basic stuff plus advanced stuff, some form of training, something you're teaching your dog something every day, so you're getting them mentally stimulated as well. And socialization also is mental stimulation. They get that social stimulation as well, so you need to provide that as well. So if there are no dogs around, so you gotta provide some form of socialization for your dog. People, dogs, cars, cats, animals, all kinds of things. You have to provide that social skill, socialization for your dog. The next thing is care, feeding them, taking care of them, taking them to the vet, brushing them, things like that. And then if you have provided all these, then you can share affection for that dog. If you share affection for that dog in this stage, after you've done 1, 2, 3, and 4, then your dog is going to be more willing to receive affection from you. So focus in this form. So that's why I'm saying there is this formula is very important for you to implement it on daily basis, and not focus only on one thing. And most dog owners, they only focus on one thing or 2 things or maybe even 3 things. And the other thing is that they don't provide it in this order. So it's important to provide them in this order. Plus, this order can repeat 4 or 5 times a day. So hopefully that makes sense. So focus on providing your dogs daily 5 essential. Watch my videos, you'll get more insight about those needs. Thanks for the tip on the earlier question. All right, keep the questions coming, and let me, before I go ahead and answer some more questions, let's go to trivia question number 2. How long should you exercise a puppy which is about 8 months old or 8 months and under? So let me know if you know the answer, and how long you should be exercising a puppy who's 8 months or 8 months and old, younger. Sorry, 8 months and younger. So let me know if you know the answer. Rusa is asking, my son is also too unclear when verbalizing the commands. I need to stress this to him again, that he needs to be more clear so that she can pay attention and understand it. Yes, exactly. As I said earlier, it's very annoying when you repeat, or you don't know what you want. The other mistake is that you don't know exactly what you want. For example, you want your dog to stop doing something, you're just throwing, sit, Robert, sit, stay, and your dog doesn't do it, but you still let it go. You have to accomplish that sit and stay every time that you're asking your dog to do it. Just because you see that your dog is misbehaving and you just say sit and stay just to stop your dog from doing that behavior, you have to follow through and finish that task that you have asked your dog to do. So make sure that you're accomplishing the task that you're asking your dog to do, so your dog learns that every time I do this, and if I don't do it, if every time I hear these commands and if I don't do it, my human is going to finish. He's going to make me finish the task. So I better do it the first time. So that's very important also to know. And thanks for the tip on the earlier question. I'm gonna try what you told me now, and let's see if it works. It should work. If you do the right way, it should work. So again, remember not to repeat, just say it once and make it happen. D66 saying thanks for your insight, you're very welcome. Naturally Fly say he gets plenty of affection, but there are not many dogs around. So yes, if there are no dogs around, what I usually suggest is you take your dog where the dogs are. There are probably parks that, dog parks, and there are parks that dogs go for a walk with their humans. So take your dogs there to let them exercise. And Shauna Hida is asking how much time. Oh yeah, so that's one of the you're asking the same question that I'm asking. How long should you exercise a puppy which is about 8 months old and younger, which you're asking. I'm going to answer it in a moment. Let me see what this 66 is asking. In regards to adding more fiber to my dog's diet, being that she is 10 but active as a puppy and very healthy according to my vet, when do you feel it's necessary to switch to a senior diet food? Very good question. So your dog is 10 years old and was very active when he was puppy, and you want to switch to senior dog diet or food. In general, when it comes to your dog's diet, you should be feeding them the same diet when they're puppy, adult, and senior. The formula doesn't change, because if you're feeding them good food, good amount of food, and good source of diet, then you don't have to switch it. The best diet, I'm assuming you're feeding your dog kibble, which I don't recommend to feed dogs. And when you're feeding kibble, the food companies, they tend to have this marketing scheme or style that they say this is puppy food, this is adult food, this is active food, this is non-active food, this is the food for dogs who are allergic to chicken, this is for those who are allergic to beef, this is for senior dogs, this is for dogs between this age and that age. This is all just marketing scheme. Basically, kibble companies in general, kibble food companies, they are trying to make money out of these different formats, which some of them are more expensive than the others. So in general, what I suggest you to do is not to feed kibble. At any stage of your dog's life, puppy, adult, or senior, you can start feeding them a better food. A better food is a raw diet. A raw diet is fresh, is balanced, and it's species appropriate diet for dogs. So I'm not sure if you're D66, if you're feeding your dog kibble or raw food, but I'm assuming you're giving kibble because you're thinking of switching to senior diet. Dogs who are on raw diet, they eat the same food, the same method of preparing the food. They eat meat and some vegetables and some supplements. That's it. Whether you're puppy or adult or senior, you eat meat, vegetables, and some supplements. The perfect formula is to give 75% meat and 25% vegetables. Vegetables is green leafy vegetables, anything like that you can kind of juice it or chop it up finely and mix it with your dog's meat. That's the perfect diet. That's the perfect food for any dog at any stage of their lives. Puppies, adults, and seniors. You can feed the same thing. The only thing that it changes is maybe the amount. You're changing the amount, changing the proteins. That's the only thing that you're changing. Variety is the key. You want to feed different forms of proteins. Maybe 1 week or every other day you want to give beef, another week chicken, another week rabbit, another week kangaroo. Different proteins every time. All the time you want to give them variety, so they have fun eating their food. Second of all, they get used to different proteins. So my honest opinion is, if you are still feeding kibble to your senior dog, don't be afraid. You can switch to raw diet right away without any hesitations. Start feeding good source of meat, natural, organic meat maybe, or fit for dog animal consumption, and then just mix some vegetables. And I'm guessing for the first week or maybe 10 days, your senior dog may have diarrheas, may have some reaction, just because you're changing its diet from kibble to raw diet. There is that transition that unfortunately happens when you switch from kibble to raw diet, because kibble contains a lot of toxins when they're eating. Their body is full of toxins, so when you switch to raw diet, the raw diet starts working and starts cleaning internally. It starts cleaning the body, So the toxins have to come out. So when they come out in form of either diarrhea or throwing up or rashes in their body. But don't be afraid. That's normal. That's a good sign that toxins are coming out of their body. So just continue on feeding raw diet. You won't regret it, and it would be the best choice actually you make for your senior dog, because you're going to be also helping it to prolong its life, and hopefully it will live longer but also healthier, you know. So hopefully that answers your question. Shauna Keda is asking, how much time should be given for exercise on average for beagle pups? Yes. All right. So since the second trivia question was about exercising puppy of 8 months old and younger, let me just answer this question. So Sean has the answer, and also Naturally Fly gets the answer, and also I'm going to answer the trivia question. So the rule is that puppies up to 8 months old, you shouldn't be over exercising them. You don't want to provide a lot of exercise for puppies. The reason for that is because they are growing up, they're still developing, their muscles, their joints, all parts of their body is still kind of separated. I don't know if you've seen this picture, but there is a picture on if you search on Google, you'll see a picture of a young puppy, the bone structure. It's an X-ray picture of a bone structure of a puppy, and it shows that most of the bones in their body is still detached. Most bones, joints are attached to each other, but puppies, because they are still developing, they are still separated. So when you over-exercise a puppy or a young dog who is not fully developed, you will help them to develop a lot of physical and health issues to develop in near future. There is new study has been done actually, and it kind of talks about the fact that many of the dogs these days are already born with hip dysplasia. If you know what that is, they're already born with hip dysplasia because of genetics, or just forcing the next generation to come up with this issue already from being born. And that's because most dog owners, the first thing that they do when they get a dog, especially when they get a puppy, what they do is they start over exercising the dog, thinking that that's going to help the puppy to get tired and leave them alone so they won't bother them. So this is very important. You don't want to exercise them too much. You have to remember that puppies about up to 8 months, they need almost 18 to 22 hours, almost 22 hours. Younger puppies obviously 22 hours, but as they get older, they need 18 hours a day of sleep. You have to help your puppy to sleep, because just like babies, puppies also, they heal, they heal their joints, their cell level, they start healing, they repair, they grow, they fix things when they're sleeping, just like humans, babies as well. So you want to make them sleep more than being active. And when they're active, you want to make it short as possible, 15 minutes to 20 minutes of activity, and then they pause and rest. So I usually suggest for puppies, you are going to focus on providing 4 sessions a day of exercise, which each session is about 15 minutes to 20 minutes of exercise. The rest of the time, they're either sleeping, or they're just hanging around, or they're not very active. They're just walking around, moving from one spot to another spot, things like that. Or they're playing with their toys. They're not very active. That 15 minutes to 20 minutes that you're exercising them, you're allowing them to play really hard, maybe play with other puppies or other dogs, maybe go for a walk, maybe you're playing with them, activities like that. So you're not putting too much force and pressure on their joints and bones and their body, and hopefully that will eliminate a lot of health issues to develop in the future. So that's the formula for puppies. Now 8 months and older dogs. And the other thing that you have to remember, that 80% of growth in puppies happens between the age happens up to 8 months old of age, and the other 20% happens between 8 months and a year old, depending on your dog's breed and structure. So what you want to do is focus on not over-exercising your dog, puppy. So 8 months and older, a year and older, you want to focus on providing 2 exercise sessions of half an hour each. So 2 exercise sessions every day. You gotta commit to provide that Monday to Monday. There's no weekends, there's no weekday that you can't. You have to commit to provide 2 exercises a day, each exercise about half an hour. Again, focus on providing short but productive activities within that half an hour twice a day, rather than one long one. Many dog owners, what they do is they take the dog for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of exercise at a time, which is crazy. It's not natural for dogs to be that active all the time. And so focus on 2 sessions of half an hour a day. And when you have a senior dogs I gather from 5 to 7 years of age, they become senior, depending on the breed and age, size of the dog. So 5 to 7 years and older, they become senior. So for them, I suggest one good 45-minute or half an hour exercise to provide exercise for them, or 2 20 minutes exercises, again depending on your dog's energy level. Again, senior dogs, just like humans, we start being just like a puppy. Senior dogs are also fragile, just like puppies. So take it easy on them, don't over-exercise them. Don't believe to this idea that you have to over-exercise your dog in order to be behaving properly or being so tired that it will leave you alone. That's not the idea. You don't want your dog to be so tired that it can't participate with you in daily life. You want them to be aware but not be bothering you. The way you do that is you provide good enough exercise. So let's say if you provide half an hour exercise for your dog is going to learn that this is what I get every day. I get 2 half an hour exercise every day and not more than that, right? But if you provide 2 or 3 hours of exercise every day, then your dog is going to expect 2 or 3 hours of exercise every day. And once you have a dog who's used to 2 or 3 hours of exercise every day, then they're going to expect more and more and more in order to be stimulated, or right? Then you have a dog. If you just focus on exercise your dog, providing exercise only for your dog, you will have a fit but bad behaving dog. So focus on providing short but effective amount of exercise for your dog, and also focus mainly on training rather than a lot of exercise. So exercise should be about 70%, 30%, and training should be 70%. And I hope that answers your questions. Let's go to another question, which is from Naturally Fly is saying thank you so much. You are welcome. Rusa is saying raw food all the way. Yes, raw food rocks is the best diet that you can feed your dog. And Naturally Fly is saying another thing that is gross is he tries to lick other dogs' pee sometimes. So the reason dogs lick other dogs' pee is not as you think it is. They are getting a lot of information when they are licking other dogs' pee. What happens is there's so many cell level or microscopic level information in the urine of even humans that we do tests and we figure out how it is, how your health is. So in general, we get a lot of information out of the urine. So the reason they're licking it is because they smell it. They smell the information that they need to, but to reassure it, they lick it as well. So they get more information. They get information like the sex of the dog, the health of the dog, whether it has any health issues, what it had for lunch or dinner. They figure out all these things, right? So it's not gross, it's a dog thing, some of the behaviors that dogs do, it seems gross or weird and strange from human point of view, but it's not. They are actually, those are very natural, normal behaviors a dog does. So don't freak out, don't think of it as anything weird or gross. Joe DeBellis is in the house. Thank you for being here. Kibble is like feeding them poison. Yes, exactly. I agree 100%. Kibble or dry food is not natural food to feed dogs. What happens is it's very processed, it's very toxins, and one of the other things that you have to understand is it becomes stale. I can't remember the word at the moment, but what happens when you open the bag, because the food has been sprayed with lots of oil to entice the dog to eat, because internally it doesn't have any nutritional value, so dogs don't find it nutrient in there, so they spray the oils on top of the kibbles to entice the dogs to eat, and those oils, they become stale, rancid. They become rancid. So when they become rancid, it becomes toxins, and your dog is basically eating toxic food every day. Just think of it that way. Okay, so when you're feeding your kibble, you're feeding your dog toxins. No matter how expensive that bag of food is, it's still a toxin because it's not fresh, it's not processed. Just think of it that way. Kibble is equal to eating McDonald's food every day. You will survive, but you won't thrive. You will be okay to live, but you will have health issues, you will have mental fogness, you will have all kinds of things going on internally, because you're not getting the nutrients that you need to get from the food. So therefore you will have health issues, mental issues. Imagine feeding your dog kibble every day and wondering why your dog is behaving certain way. So it is related to behavior as well as health. So yeah, definitely kibble is like a poison. I want to ask you the third trivia question, which brings me, I was just talking about food. What should you feed your dog when it has an upset stomach or diarrhea? What do vets recommend? What do vets tell you to do when you have your dog who has diarrhea or upset stomach? When you take it to the vet, what do they suggest? What do you usually need to feed your dog when they have upset stomach? Let me know the answer if you know. Sean is curd. Yeah, that's a good answer. Let me answer another question. My Scooby tries to chew shoes, clothes, and plastic toys of my niece. I have got him chew toys and bones, but usually he doesn't pay attention to that. Good question. The reason for that happens is because those chew toys and all toys, they become boring after a while. So what I usually suggest to do is invest in variety of toys, safe and proper chew toys. So every few weeks you want to renew the chew toy so they don't get bored, first of all. Second of all, you want to focus again on providing your puppy, same thing, exercise, training, socialization, care, and affection. This, if you provide, especially the first two, exercise and training, if you provide those two for your puppy is going to be more stimulated and much more relaxed and happier, and is going to be less physically and mentally able to be destructive. The main reason why puppies and dogs, they become destructive and they become they do behaviors like that is because of boredom. Boredom is the main reason why they start behaving certain way, because you're not providing them enough or proper way of exercise and training. They become bored. So what I usually suggest to do is, which is Shauna is actually asking, what's your idea of effective exercise for pups? So proper exercise is basically walking. Good walk is very effective. So for instance, if your dog is one of those dogs who likes to sniff things, let your dog sniff things. Let them do as much as sniffing as they want to do, because if you take away that activity from your dog or your puppy, they don't benefit from that walk either. So I know most dog owners, they just want to go for a walk. They just want to go from A to B. But in your dog's mind, that's not what they want to do. They don't want to go from A to B. They just want to go from A to B, and whatever happens in between. They enjoy the process rather than the destination. They enjoy what happens between here and there. So between here and there for dogs, just like, for example, you browse Facebook or you browse YouTube, there are lots of things for you to browse and figure out and learn and watch and benefit, right? So for them, the walk is same thing. They check emails, they check to see who's left any bulletin, any news, what's happening. They learn a lot of things. They learn and enjoy that activity. And when they are sniffing, their brain is very active. So when they get active that way, it's very healthy for them, and they get better. You get better results when they are sniffing. When they're sniffing, they're actually, let's say if you go for a walk from A to B in half an hour and you let your dog or puppy to sniff in this half an hour is equal to hiking your dog for 2 hours in the mountains, in the woods. So just sniffing it gives them a lot of stimulation. So let your dog or puppy get stimulated in a healthy way. Walking is a good option. Allowing your puppy or dog to play with other dogs is also very stimulating. The way dogs play together it's magical and also is very beneficial. They learn, they socialize, they get active physically, they get active mentally as well, they get trained, right? So playing with other dogs is a very good idea as well. So hopefully those are some ideas for you to learn. So one more time, let me repeat the third trivia question. What should you feed your dog when it has an upset stomach or diarrhea? What does a vet recommend? Rusa is saying puppy is 7 months. Is it good age to start practicing staying alone? She hasn't been left alone apart from a few minutes and twice for half an hour. If I can't take her with me, she's with my mom. So puppy is 7 months old. Yes, it's always good to teach a dog to stay home alone. You can't all of a sudden just leave them home alone. The problem with this idea is that when you leave them home alone, all of a sudden they think that there's something wrong. In dogs' mind, they think that you're punishing them. They did something wrong and you're punishing them, because dogs in general are coming from wolves, and wolves are pack animals. They have this understanding. Dogs are very social animals. They love to be with other human beings, especially human beings and other dogs and other creatures. They love that social activity that they have with other dogs. So in general, they enjoy that social activity. So if you separate your dog and say you stay home, I'm going to go, that from your mind is like, oh, you should be okay staying home alone. But they don't think that way. They think that they've done something wrong and you're punishing them. So understand this concept from dog's point of view. So in order for them not to feel that way and understand that you're not punishing them, you have to teach them. So the way you teach them is you start focusing on training. You teach your dog sit, and then once your dog learns sit, you teach them stay. Stay is different than wait, and then you teach them wait as well. So sit is just to keep the dog still so they can focus. Stay is a very short period that you ask your dog to stay without moving in that position, which is sit. The dog stays there for about 30 seconds to, let's say, 5 minutes or even 10 minutes. And the difference is that you are in front of your dog, so your dog can see you. But wait is different. Wait goes from 10 minutes to, say, 4 hours, but you're not visible to your dog. You're not there. Physically, you're not there with your dog. So you see, going from sit, stay to wait, it's a process that you have to go through, and you have to teach your dog to learn. So when it comes time that you want to leave your dog home alone, you ask your dog, wait, and your dog says, oh, I know that. You will be back. I know what's going to happen. I'm not being punished. I'm just being told to wait while my human goes and does his things and comes back. He or she always comes back. I know that because we have practiced this 100 times before. I know what's going to happen, so I'm not surprised, and I'm not going to be stressing myself. There's something going on here. My charger is okay. We are reconnected. I think we are connected. Yes. No? Not sure if we are connected or not, but we'll give it a try.
The screen hasn't changed. Okay, now back.
Okay, so we are back. Sorry about that, guys. It just my battery on my phone finished, and I had to restart my phone. Let me just reconnect one more time. Okay, so I was answering a question. Okay, I was answering a question about stay. Yes, stay. So leaving your dog home alone. So yes, teach your dog what you want it to do, and your dog is going to do what you ask it to do. But you have to teach it. You have to take the time to teach your dog to sit, stay, and then yes, dog being alone. Thank you. Yes, that's what we were talking about, Sean. So take those steps, and then you leave your dog home alone, and then you will have better success. Most dogs that have this issue, which is called separation anxiety, is developed because dog owners, they think that dog is going to figure it out on its own. They don't figure it out. But what happens when you start leaving your dog home alone, all of a sudden, and then you continue on doing that, your dog feels like it's being punished, and every time it goes through stress, and every time you leave it home alone, it practices the same behavior and gets more and more stressed, and then it never gets better and never figures it out. You have to actually take the time to your puppy or dog. Maybe it's going to take, I would say, the realistic time that it will take to get to that point is about 5 months. So if you want to leave your dog home alone, plan ahead. Plan 5 months ahead before you start leaving your puppy home alone. And if you want to learn how to teach your dog to sit, stay, and wait, I actually have videos on my channel. There's a playlist for obedience training your dog. Go through those videos. I'm not sure what's happening. I'm having some technical problem today with my phone. There are a few other questions that I need to answer. I'm just going to make it quick. And yes, it is unnatural for them to be alone. That's the dilemma. Human being accept or yes. So it is very unnatural for dogs to be left home alone. And before I finish this live session, which I really enjoyed, I'm sorry about the technical issues. The question was the trivia question. The third one was, what should you feed your dog when it has an upset stomach or diarrhea? What does a vet recommend? A vet usually recommends to give your dog chicken soup with some chicken and rice. So that is because your dog has upset stomach of eating kibble, right? Most of the time that's what happens. So why do they only recommend to feed your dog chicken soup with rice only when your dog has stomach issues? Why don't we decide to feed our dogs good food all the time? I'm not saying you have to feed your dog all the time chicken and rice, but what I'm saying is I want you to understand that whenever your dog has upset stomach because they've been eating kibble or dry food, the vets usually recommend to feed fresh food. So why don't we feed our dogs fresh food all the time? I hope that makes sense. I really appreciate you being here and all the questions. I will see you in 2 weeks, and if you want to become an educated dog lover and have a healthy and happy, well-behaved dog, consider subscribing to my channel and also hit the bell icon to be notified as soon as I go live or I post a new video, which is going to be up and running this Sunday. at 12 p.m. Standard Time. And if you want to become an educated dog lover, join my online dog training course. I have the link in the description. And thank you for being here, Shauna, and good day. Thank you very much. Rusa, thank you for being here. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. Until next time, have fun with your dog.